There is no red, white, or blue in this country. The only color that matters is green because we live in the United Corporations of America. Hello, Jordan Sheridan live, Status Coup. It is Thursday, July the 10th, 2025. In the United Corporations of America / hell. I'm done trying to keep up with the Trump insanity, the Democratic opposition futility, and we are hell-bent on staying on what I think is one of the biggest stories happening in the country right now, the overall ICE Gestapo, inhumane, moral panic, and treatment of undocumented immigrants and, frankly, many U.S. citizens that they're snatching up. And more specifically, as we were recently on the ground, the ICE Alligator Alcatraz Gestapo prison in the swamps of the Everglades. We have more on the ground reporting and more on the ground clips to show you today. Ashley and John were there for, I believe, 5 days. We're still going through footage that we haven't released yet. But we, as far as I know, we're the only outlet doing this kind of consistent on the ground reporting. And we would like to go back there, which means we got to grow, and we got to grow quick. So I'm hoping to sign up more paying members during this live stream. Shout out, I believe, I think right before we went live, we got a new member, Linda. So welcome, Linda. So hoping to gain more members as we're live here. So please, if you're not yet a Status Coup member, consider signing up during this live stream, and we will shout you out. I see we already have trolls in the chat. So welcome to all and the many. But there's a lot to report. Frankly, some are calling this a concentration camp. Others are calling this Alligator Auschwitz. I'll tell you my thoughts on that a little bit later. But it is very, very clear that the conditions inside are that of you wouldn't even want your worst enemy to be in these conditions. They are being described as the undocumented immigrants inside are being treated like dogs, sweltering heat, mosquitoes the size of elephants, medical emergencies prisoners are having, toilets not flushing, lack of ability to shower for days, the lights in the facility on 24/7, which is psychologically torture. Welcome, new Status Coup member Jen signed up. Now we're moving. Now we're pumping. My goal for this live stream, hey, we went live a few weeks ago during the Trump ICE raids in LA. We got 50 new members in 2 hours. Maybe we could do the same thing now. The more paying members we sign up, the easier we will be able to fund going back there. And I'll tell you a little bit later what our hope is in terms of going back there, and another story we want to cover on the ground. But please smash that like button. Please share this live stream so we can get it out to more people. I'm going to go for about an hour, maybe a little more, as long as my wife will allow, because I got to alternate with her. I have a newborn who's 2.5 months old and a 2.5-year-old toddler. So obviously I've been not able to go live as much as I want, but I've been doing a whole lot of work in the background, and Ashley has been doing great reporting. She's working on she's digging behind the scenes right now to break more stories on Alligator Alcatraz. Okay, so let me start. And again, smash the like button, share this live stream. I will shout out new members. We also got new members on our website, which is our preferred sign-up method. So if you want to sign up, please, we prefer on our website, because if you sign up through YouTube, we don't have your email. And we prefer people sign up on our website, because what happens if YouTube one day nukes us? We lose all our YouTube members. YouTube has nuked channels before, getting rid of them without any explanation, and they have demonetized channels with no explanation. If we get nuked on YouTube one day, not planning on it, but you never know. If we get nuked, if we get demonetized, we're screwed. we're screwed. So that's why we want to have as many people sign up on our website as possible. Welcome new Status Coup member Shayna signed up on our website today. Randall signed up on our website today. And Tran signed up on our website today. So if you'd rather be on YouTube, that's fine. But if you sign up on YouTube and you don't mind canceling and moving over to the website, statuscoup.com/join. As a website member, you get access to our monthly members call, which we're going to do next week. You get access to our behind the scenes members videos, and you get discounts for our merchandise, all on our website, statuscoup.com/join. Let's start with the Miami Herald. Did a really, really in-depth story. They are talking to the wives of, I'm not even going to call them detainees at this point. They're prisoners. A lot of them are there. Most of them are there without any due process. Headline: Giant bugs, heat, and hospital visit inside Alligator Alcatraz. And I am going to show you some of the clips from Ashley's reporting, some of which you haven't seen yet. But let me start here, Colin. I'm going to jump around based on what I put in the live document, the live document. So the calls from Alligator Alcatraz's first detainees brought distressing news: toilets that don't flush, which would indicate to me a non-working septic system; temperatures or plumbing system; temperatures that went from freezing to sweltering; a hospital visit; giant bugs; and little or no access to showers or toothbrushes, much less confidential calls with attorneys. And I just want to point out, Colin, apologies if I didn't ask you. It's fine if you don't have them. Our reporter Ashley and cameraman John, they came back 5 days down there, and not every day was at the actual Alligator Alcatraz location. John must have had 100 mosquito bites, and he is not a prisoner in the prison. He was outside. He must have had 100 mosquito bites. Neck. There's some of them. Neck. Face. Ashley, too. I mean, an insane amount of mosquito bites. I don't want to be dramatic, but these mosquitoes carry disease. So think of a journalist, two journalists ravaged by mosquitoes. What's it like for the prisoners inside? Do you think they're giving them mosquito spray? You think they're giving them aloe? They don't even have a working toilet. They can't shower for days. I wouldn't want my worst enemy to have to go through this. I continue. Detainees are telling their families a different story about what it's like to live in cells inside heavy-duty tents erected on an airstrip in Big Cypress National Preserve. Erected, I'll tell you, in 8 days. And they cut a lot of corners based on reporting that's coming out. On Monday, for instance, word spread quickly across the detention facility that a detainee had suffered a medical emergency. One by one, detainees started calling their family members, relaying different versions of what they believed had taken place. While the state says the story detainees are sharing with the Herald are false, various scenarios described by 3 women in separate interviews are matching up. Whatever the state says, I don't give a shit. They're lying. It's the DeSantis government. It's the Trump ICE Gestapo. So I trust what the detainees are telling reporters. The women told the Herald that their husbands were unable to shower for several days after arriving. On Sunday, 2 women said their husbands complained that initially there was no water to flush toilets. All 3 detainees told their wives that the bugs were getting inside, one of them saying that grasshoppers the size of his hand were springing into the tent and that the biggest mosquitoes he had ever seen were flying over them in their cells. One detainee sent to Alligator Alcatraz from a Florida jail following a dispute with his ex was bitten on his face by mosquitoes a few times in his sleep, he told his wife on Monday morning. Another detainee who was arrested for driving without a license 3 days before arriving told his wife he, quote, couldn't take the conditions anymore. A 4th detainee, Cuban artist Limzy Izquierdo, told CBS and other local outlets that the lights are on inside the facility 24 hours a day. So enjoy sleeping in light. You can't even get the lights to go off to go to sleep. A detail that was corroborated by a Venezuelan detainee's wife interviewed by the Herald. Izquierdo was transferred to the Everglades site after landing in Miami-Dade's Turner Guilford Knight Correction Center on assault and battery charges. He has pleaded not guilty. Inside the facility, detainees say there are no clocks and there is scant sunlight coming through heavy-duty tents, making it difficult for them to know whether it is night or day. My friends, that's called psychological torture. When they keep the lights on all the time, no clocks, no light coming in. The temperature is also a cause of concern for some family members. A Guatemalan detainee told his wife that he was unable to sleep on Monday night due to how cold it was inside the tent. By Tuesday, the same man told his wife it had appeared the air conditioner had stopped working and that it was really hot inside, according to a recording of the conversation obtained by the Herald. I just want to stop for a second. First of all, you all know wherever you live, I mean, most of you have some type of seasons. So when it's incredibly hot, what do you want to do? You want to jump in the pool or you want to go shower? You sweat. Can you imagine being stuck in a tent that's alternating between freezing cold, sweltering heat? You have mosquitoes the size of elephants, which I'm about to get into that, and you can't shower for days. Oh, by the way, you don't know if it's day or night. There's no light coming in other than the light. This is torture. This is torture. Oh, well, maybe you shouldn't come here illegally, MAGA says. So just torture people because they think they committed what you deem a crime, which, by the way, is a misdemeanor before Trump. Is this lowering your prices at the gas pump, the grocery store, rent, housing, mortgages, utility bills, car insurance? Is any of this making a material difference in your life other than giving you the giggles and excitement to terrorize brown people? And by the way, typically, there's arguments on both sides about government red tape, this and that. I think most people would argue you probably can't put together for this level of a facility where already they have hundreds of people. They're talking about putting it up to 3,000 people. In 8 days, you're probably not going to be able to quickly put together a working electrical system, plumbing system, septic system, air conditioning system. And we're already seeing toilets not flushing, air conditioning going in and out. Who would have thought? The Venezuelan man's wife heard the same thing on Tuesday afternoon. Her husband said the air is hot inside the tent. She said he sounded out of breath. It was 96 degrees near Alligator Alcatraz Tuesday afternoon, according to the National Weather Service, with a feels-like temperature of 105. So when you add in the heat index humidity, this is over 100 degrees heat with mosquitoes swarming around, not consistent showers. They're not getting enough water or food by reports. The food they are getting has maggots in them, which I'll get to. Katie Blankenship, an attorney and co-founder of Sanctuary of the South, a legal services network, said Tuesday she had been unable to get in touch with a new client whose wife called last week, saying her husband was being transferred to Alligator Alcatraz from the Chrome Immigration Detention Center in Miami-Dade County, where an elderly man recently died, by the way, at that Chrome Immigration Center. Blankenship doesn't have a number to call at the facility. Same thing with detainees' spouses. Some have described spending hours trying to get a phone number for the facility, only to keep being rerouted to local DHS numbers. His name isn't showing up in an online website kept by U.S. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. She has asked ICE officials to confirm his whereabouts, but she said her emails have gone unanswered and the wife hasn't heard from her husband since he was transferred. I think it's a gross violation of due process to put people literally in the black hole where they cannot be found, the lawyer said. They cannot speak with counsel. They cannot contact immigration court. They are just, for all intents and purposes, disappeared. When detainees call their loved ones, their conversations are recorded. The state is yet to provide them with a way to call their legal counsel through a secure line, said one of the women interviewed by the Herald. According to a draft operation proposal obtained by the Herald outlining the, quote, minimum requirements for the facility, immigrant detainees should have the ability to, quote, confidentially contact several legal entities at no cost, or in the alternative, allow for these free calls through some other means. Well, sounds like that's not happening. Sounds like that is not happening. Then you have the fact, and this is not, to advocate for the Florida Democrats, who, don't impress me that much, but other than right-wing podcasters who did a public relations tour at Alligator Alcatraz hawking merchandise, because it seems the Trump administration and the DeSantis administration down in Florida are gleeful about this and they're selling merch. Other than, PR tours just gleefully, exaggerating and celebrating this torture dungeon, opposition politicians have not been allowed in. Colin, if you have the clip of those politicians, the Democrats who came and were denied entry.
We are here to demand access to this detention facility. Based on reports that we've been able to glean, the site is already experiencing flooding. The first individuals who have been detained with no due process have arrived. And it's so essential when you have hundreds of millions of public dollars being spent on a political stunt that we have the ability to see for our own eyes what is happening and to be the voices of our constituents.
Well, pursuant to Florida Statute 944.23 and 95.225, we don't have to arrange a tour. We actually get to pop up here.
Right now, I was told that I could give you a phone number, I could call somebody else.
And so, unfortunately, that's not the law. Right?
We can't go in because there's safety concerns for us.
So they were denied entry,
no regard.
And right before I went live, 5 of those Democrats filed a lawsuit. So Florida lawmakers filed a lawsuit against the state after illegal denial of legislative oversight visits to Alligator Alcatraz. Lawsuit argues DeSantis violated state law and the Florida Constitution by denying legislators unannounced access to immigrant detention facility, which is tantamount to a modern-day concentration camp. Lawmakers plan to attend FDEM's staged, scripted, and sanitized tour on Saturday, reaffirm intent to return unannounced for true oversight. So to be clear, they won't let them in because if they let them in, they're going to sound the alarm that these people are being tortured. They're being given inadequate water in sweltering over 100 degrees heat. They're being given food with maggots. There's non-working toilets. It's unsanitary. They can't shower. There are medical emergencies. There's not, from what I could tell and sources I've talked to, it's not clear if they even have medical support on site. The lights are kept on 24/7. They don't know if it's day or night. They can't have conversations with lawyers. I don't know what you would call that other than a torture camp. I want to play a clip. This is with one of, and by the way, as far as I know, maybe there was 1 or 2 other outlets, but while Ashley and John were there, we were one of the only independent, keyword independent outlets on the ground outside this torture camp. So we want to go back. We want to stay on this, but it's expensive. That's why I'm pushing folks to sign up now as paying members if you can. We're not just, bloviating out of our behinds. We're on the ground covering this. We were there for 5 days. We'd like to go back and stay on it because, frankly, it's going to get a lot worse. And we need media to stay on this, or it's just going to be buried like the rest of Trump's flood the zone strategy, where he launches one chaotic crisis level, insane, abnormal thing after the next, and people can't keep up with it. We're trying to stay on it, but we need your help. Please support us. 16 cents a day. That's what $5 a month is. $5 a month, statuscoup.com/join. Do it now. I'll shout you out as you sign up. Let me show you a clip from our interview with one of the lawmakers that was blocked entry. Shevrin Jones is his name. Ashley interviewed him down there.
We spent time over at the detention center 2 days ago, and I'll be honest with you, being out in the Everglades is very interesting because if you have never been out there, you know that the climate out there is extremely hot. And the bugs out there are serious and things that you just do not see inland.
Oh yes, I have the bug bites to prove it.
So do I. So the mosquitoes that's out there were serious. But when we got there, it begged the question of if I know the conditions in which I know Everglades to be is not good for me. I can only imagine the detainees who are there and the workers who are there, what they're going through at this time, not with just the extreme heat, but also with the rain that we are experiencing. I mean, the record downfall of rain that we are experiencing right now, the detention center has already seen its share of flooding. So it begs the question of, are those detainees that's there, are they safe? It also begs the question of whether or not it is responsible for us as a state to put a makeshift center out there in the middle of the Everglades, in the middle of nowhere, actually.
Yeah, and to your point, that facility was set up in, I believe, 8 days.
It was set up in it was set up in 8 days. And listen, I made it clear that if we can set up this makeshift facility in 8 days, imagine what we could have done over these last 2 years of the last two hurricanes, or I mean the last over the homelessness that's happening in many of our large counties. If you can set that up in 8 days for political theater, for the things that matter, it's amazing to me that we cannot do the same.
So that was one of the Democrat state senators that was blocked from entry. They let conservative podcaster Benny Johnson in to hawk alligator Alcatraz hats and do blowjobs to Donald Trump. They let other right wingers in to do PR from, by all accounts, a torture camp. But they won't let in. This isn't about whether you're Democrat or Republican. They do have, by law, oversight responsibility. So they are being denied oversight. Why are you denying them? If you want to hide, if it's a wonderful facility, if they're being treated humanely, you're hiding it because you don't want them to see you're torturing these people. And by the way, I just want to respond to this comment by Neurohacking. I'll take off my glasses for this one. I am a proud digital beggar. I will proudly beg the proletariat. I will proudly beg the people, the working class who watch and build this justice journalism. I will proudly beg them to support us financially before I will ever beg healthcare companies, Wall Street banks, Amazon, United Healthcare, big tech, big pharma, Silicon Valley, defense contractors, the vulture fucks buying off the Republican and Democratic Party. I will proudly beg the people to fund this reporting. And I'm not beyond begging, because as Mama Sheridan once told me, if you're not going to advocate for yourself, who's going to? And by the way, the begging I've done over the last 7 years of Status Coup, it's paying off. I don't mean like financially. We're growing. And we were able to hire another reporter because I kept asking people to support us. And I believe walk the walk, don't talk the talk. We walk the walk. So when you support us, you see your financial support in action pretty much right away. It's not just Alligator Alcatraz. Did you see Tina's incredible and fucking scary, alarming, dystopian Call of Duty-esque footage from LA the other day, which I'm going to show you in a little bit, with these Border Patrol, DHS fucking goons in SEAL Team 6 level garb terrorizing a Los Angeles park for no reason? So I will beg. And if you don't like it, kindly fuck off. I digress. And please respond to that begging. Respond to that begging by signing up as a paying Status Coup member. StatusCoup.com/join. Okay. Let's show you the second clip with this state senator. And I think this point is important. Not that money is the most important thing here, but it's not just the inhumane conditions. It's not just the torture, the illegal deprivation of human rights, food, water. Florida taxpayers, you're going to be paying for this. Let's go to that.
We're not even in hurricane season yet, and funds are being pulled from FEMA to do this. So already those, that whole condition is happening. And I believe that the excuse that was given for you and other representatives being denied entry to the facility to take a tour was that it was not safe for you guys to enter.
Yeah, they may mention that it was unsafe, but I also want to make it clear that the state of Florida, although have a 287G agreement with the federal government and the partnership of our local law enforcement and state law enforcement with the federal government, the one thing I want to make it clear that $450 million that has been spoken of will be covered by taxpayers. FEMA, if we look at the court filings, the Department of Homeland Security made it clear that with the 287G agreement that the state of Florida has with the federal government, that while, yes, they have that in flow, the detaining of detainees is at the behest of the state of Florida. That the federal government They're not asking the state of Florida to detain anybody. The state of Florida has done this on their own will. And the governor has moved this $450 million on the basis of emergency powers. Immigration is this. Florida is not under an immigration emergency. Let's make sure we put that on the table. But I also think it's important for us to point out that FEMA has also made it clear that the grant that that state of Florida saw would be able to pay for this. They make it clear that no, it doesn't qualify for this. So therefore, $450 million, $500 million, is stuck on the back of the taxpayers. And I want to make sure people understand that we just left out of a 60-day plus 45-day legislative session where this, if so right, should have gone through the appropriations process, should have gone through the committee process, and should have been rightfully debated, questions asked on the chamber floor. And neither or none of that was done. So here we are today to make it clear that the detention camp, which has been built, which they have deemed as Alligator Alcatraz, should not be in place right now because the state of Florida should be doing other things with $450 million rather than political theater.
Amen. Amen. By the way, we got some momentum here. Welcome new member. Linda signed up as a Status Coup member. Jen signed up as a Status Coup member. Shirley signed up as a Status Coup member. Kathy signed up as a Status Coup member. Brian gifted one Status Coup membership. And Bigfoot and the Bunny Media, you are a member for 1 month, said hello. Welcome, welcome. Keep signing up. We need you. I will get super, super excited, maybe a little lit. We'll see. Maybe I'll go grab my non-alcoholic Corona. At the spry age of 38, I am shifting to non-alcoholic, not because I have an alcohol problem, but because I really can't stand the hangovers anymore. So I have shifted over to the non-alcoholic booze, which is very tasty. But I also want to point out something. The fact that they cannot go in and they have sued to get access inside. I'm hearing from sources, I can't confirm it, but I'm hearing from sources, so is Ashley. There's talk that there might be children in this torture camp. Again, not reporting. I'm talking about what we're hearing. There's talk that there might be pregnant women in this detention camp. My wife just gave birth at the end of April. Could you imagine being pregnant in a 105-degree heat index with mosquitoes flying all over you? With not working toilets, the ability not being able to shower? I can't confirm these things, but you know how you confirm it? When you allow the politicians who are supposed to be overseeing it and inspecting it to come in, to confirm you don't have children in there, to confirm you don't have pregnant women in there, to confirm you don't have, disabled people that need certain accommodations in there. My hunch, they probably have all of those people in there. And MAGA, if you're watching, well, and you're saying, no, you're making it up. Well, you just believe on faith that they don't have these people in there? And if that's the case, MAGA, why aren't you opening the gates for everyone to come? If they're treating people humanely, if they're giving them proper amounts of water, food, if sanitation is fine, why won't they let politicians inside? Take off your fucking blinders, Team MAGA. It's fucking vile. Keep signing up. We need to get more paying members. Our goal is to send Ashley and John there back within the next week or so, for longer than they went. They were there for 5 days. But just so you know, just to send a reporter and cameraman anywhere for 5 days, even if you're spending frugally, it's $2 to $3 grand. You're talking flights, hotels, rent a car, food. We have to get another mic I just talked to John about. It's expensive. That's why so few do living, breathing, on the ground reporting. And most of YouTube, the podcast world, the influencer world, is people in their homes bloviating out of their behind. I've been on the ground for nearly a decade, less so now because I just had another kid. But I'll be back on the ground, in a few weeks / months, if my wife allows me, love her. And it's expensive. But I believe real living, breathing journalism, investigative journalism, on the ground journalism that's not scripted, that's authentic, that's real, is in such needed. It's in such short supply, and it's so in such high demand. So please help us do it. All right. I want to read to you a little bit more about the conditions there. This is from CBS News. Florida officials deny accusations of inhumane conditions at Alligator Alcatraz. Cuban reggaeton artist Liamze La Figura, arrested last week at Miami-Dade on assault charges, was transferred to South Florida's new immigration detention facility. He and other detainees claim they are enduring inhumane conditions at the site, including lack of access to water, inadequate food, and denial of religious rights. Alligator Alcatraz was built in a matter of days and on a rarely used municipal airport located about 50 miles west of Miami. La Figura, whose real name is Limzi Izquierdo, was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and battery. In a phone call from inside the facility, La Figura described what he called horrific conditions. Quote, I am Liamze La Figura. We've been here at Alcatraz since Friday. There's over 400 people here. There's no water to take a bath. It's been 4 days since I've taken a bath. He claimed the food at the immigration facility is scarce and unsanitary. Quote, they only brought a meal once a day and it had maggots. Let me repeat. It had maggots. They never take off the lights for 24 hours. The mosquitoes are as big as elephants. By the way, mosquitoes do carry diseases. So as everyone focuses on the alligators, those mosquitoes could kill you. If you get bit by the wrong mosquito and you don't have medical attention, you could die. Other detainees echoed La Figura's concerns, alleging violations of their basic rights. Quote, they're not respecting our human rights, one man said during the same call. We're human beings. We're not dogs. We're like rats in an experiment. I don't know the motive for doing this. It's a form of torture. A lot of us have our residency documents and we don't understand why we're here. As I've said, not just in this torture prison, a lot of the others, they have legalized citizens. They have naturalized citizens there. In some cases, they've snatched up U.S. citizens wrongly. I know personally in my life, I know someone whose cousin is an American citizen who was snagged up by ICE in Georgia. A third detainee who said he's Colombian described deteriorating mental health and lack of access to necessary medical care. I'm on the edge of losing my mind. I've gone 3 days without taking my medicine. It's impossible to sleep with this white light that's on all day. He also claimed his Bible was confiscated. Quote, they took the Bible I had and said there is no right to religion. They took the Bible I had and they said, here there is no right to a religion. And my Bible is the one thing that keeps my faith, and now I'm losing my faith. La Figura's girlfriend said the couple shares a 4-year-old daughter. And Florida officials deny the charges, blah, blah, blah. They're lying. No other way to put it. They're clearly lying. There's no reason to believe all of these immigrants are making this up. And by the way, what exactly is the point of this? What exactly is the point of this? Florida doesn't have a border crisis. It's not even on a border. Ron DeSantis invoked emergency government powers under the guise of an immigration, under the guise of a immigrant invasion when there is no immigrant invasion. He seized this property from Miami-Dade County. He seized it. I thought Republicans and MAGA want small government. I guess you want small government unless it comes to terrorizing brown people. What is this doing for your life if you are MAGA? I genuinely ask that. Law and order? Oh, really? So, MAGA, are we going to start organizing alligator Alcatrazes for the Congress people who are committing insider trading, which is illegal for us, but apparently legal for them? Are we going to start rounding those Congress people, which many of them are MAGA and Republican, like Marjorie Taylor Greene? How about those crimes? You want to go after them, MAGA? How about the Wall Street bankers that tanked our fucking economy? Millions of people still haven't recovered over a decade later through criminal fraud. You want to create, hey, how about we put them in the mountains, Montana? We'll swarm them around the bears. How about How about the Sackler family, who killed hundreds of thousands of people with Oxycontin and got off with a settlement? Do you not care about those criminals? Big pharma executives killing people, big oil, fossil fuel executives killing people by poisoning water with their crude oil and leaks, big tech people stealing your data and selling it to private parties. Seems like the only criminals you care about are brown people. Seems like it's not about the law, it's about the demographics. Disgusting. Let's play the next clip from our on-the-ground reporting down in Florida.
I grew up on this land, so that's one aspect of it, right? You know, I'm a tribal member of I'm from the Miccosukee tribe. We are one of the demographics directly affected by this. I think I've gone to the last protests, of course, the two held these previous weekends, and I very much enjoyed that, except there was one issue that I and a lot of other youth and just people in general recognized, which was those protests were lacking intersectionality, which we think is the only way we can, being intersectional is the only way you can sort of solve any problems. If your politics aren't based in intersectionality, you won't get very far with that at all. Yeah, so just to show solidarity with our Latin community affected as well.
And welcome new Status Coup member. Rose just signed up. So that's Rose signed up on our website. Shayna signed up on our website. Randall signed up on our website. Thon signed up. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So we got a couple website members. We got a bunch on YouTube. Keep signing up. Please, please, please. We do want to send people back. And by the way, it's tough because, you know, when you're going out on the ground, you want to go there when action is happening, right? So we don't know when protests are going to happen. But like last time, we, Ashley and I and John talked in the morning and we sent them the next morning. We would have sent them that night. We actually missed the bigger protest that happened when Trump was coming because if we would have sent them the same night, the flights down there for an evening flight were $1,000 each. We couldn't spring that. But if we grow, we could bite the bullet and spring more expensive flights to get them down there when shit breaks. So we don't have the budget of CNN. We don't have the budget of like the big ABC, CBS, NBC. Our funding comes from you. That's why we're trying to grow so we could get down there the minute something breaks. And also, while we're down there, we want to do deeper dive investigative stuff. For example, Ashley and John went to a migrant community about 2 hours away from Alligator Alcatraz, but they only had a few hours there. So we want to go back because a lot of these migrant communities hours away from Alligator Alcatraz are also being terrorized by Trump's Gestapo ICE. So please, please, please sign up. Welcome new Status Coup member Lewis just signed up. Now we're talking. So as you saw in that clip, this is also story of America stealing native land. So this jet port that originally was being, they tried down there in the Everglades, they tried to build in the 1960s, early 70s, the largest airport in America. Fortunately, indigenous tribe folks there, the Seminole tribes, the Miccosukee tribes, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, environmental activists stopped that. They shut it down, so it wasn't built. But the remaining, what remained was a jet port with one runway, and they have pilot training there. It's basically hovering on Seminole and Miccosukee tribal land. But this buildup is affecting the Native Americans down there, which is not getting a lot of attention in the mainstream media, shockingly, because they don't give a fuck about Native Americans. We do. I was at Standing Rock, freezing my little Jewish tushy off for 6 months on and off. And we have continued to cover indigenous stories because that's the original sin of this country. And we are basically to torture brown people, also doing it on the land of Native Americans. It is disgusting. Miccosukee. Thank you. Let's continue with that interview with Trish.
and not too far is our reservation. And so this area is just surrounded by native land, even if that jetport isn't ours specifically. But no, it definitely does have a direct impact on us as well. But, you know, we grew up like going to Jetport. A lot of us have experiences of just riding around there. You know, a lot of activists for our tribe coming from, like our own community members, fought for that land in 1970. They protested so that it wouldn't be built as the world's largest, or Florida's largest airport or whatever, I don't know. But yeah, so we have a long ongoing fight for this land, and it's just history. It's our history, you know? Just to show people that you care, just so your government knows that you care too, just so, because I feel like even with the Alligator Alcatraz, they're sort of testing us. They're seeing if we're just going to sit back and watch it happen. And, you know, we got to show them that that's not, we're not going to, oh, I almost said something bad. We're not going to let you do, we're not going to take it up the ass. Like, we're not going to bend over and let you do us like.
Completely agree. Completely agree. And John Farina, I'm fucking live. Stop texting me, motherfucker. Excuse my French. Just kidding. Our dear cameraman. Who, by the way, hats off. We're trying to make him full-time. He's not full-time. He's been freelance for us. We're trying to grow. We were able, in recent months, to hire Ashley full-time. We were able to make Colin full-time. And that was well-deserved. He's been with me since the beginning. 7 years ago, we made him full-time. We're trying to make John full-time. We could have done it a long time ago if I would have sold out. We could have done it a long time ago if I would have taken money from some Democratic think tank, from some big Democratic nonprofit, from some big Democratic donor. And trust me, I got the offer to do so. One day I'll tell the story about the Democratic donor that offered me $500,000. I've never revealed who it was. You'd be revolted. I thought about it because I'm human, but I said no, because he would not put in writing that we keep editorial control. It's not easy to say no to $500,000. I don't care who you are. It would have allowed me to take more money, hire Colin, hire more people, not have to work 7 days a week. But I said no, because there is no price for integrity. And if we're going to do this, we're going to do it the right way. We're going to do it truly independent. Because if we can't do it independently, if we don't control the content, if we don't control the stories we cover, if we don't control how we cover it, what the fuck is the point? What's the point? 500,000 is a really low price. It is, but for a scrappy independent outlet, you could do a lot with 500,000. You could probably hire several reporters, producers, etc. So, all right. What's key about this also, and we've covered this and Ashley's covered this, they don't have a true septic system here. So they're going to be dumping shit in the Everglades, which indigenous tribes, Seminole, Mukasiki, get their water from, in addition to 8 million people get their drinking water. 8 million people get their drinking water from the Everglades. God knows what's going to be dumped from this facility into the Everglades. I want to play another clip from another Native American that Ashley interviewed down there. This is Dakota, I believe, about the effects on Native Americans.
I'm grateful you brought up the intersectionality, because that has been something that has been missing, and that is why we are here, because we realize that this is not just an environmental issue. That is a very big part of it, but this is these are humans. There's human trafficking. There's kidnappings happening. There are people being torn from their families. There are young mothers who will not be able to raise their children, and there's people who will never be able to become an elder. And these are indigenous people with medicine, with culture, with love, with communities, and they don't deserve to be ignored. There needs to be some sort of respect towards the tribes that are putting tax dollars into the Florida economy. We unfortunately, we send those people lots of money, and what are they doing to us? How dare they? How dare they? This is not their land. This is our land. This is native land. This is Seminole, Miccosukee, and indigenous people who are working, who are living, who are living our lives here. Our people still eat the fish that are swimming in the water. Our people still eat the deer that are running through what's left. Our people still hunt here. They still fish here. We're raising our kids here, and it's gonna affect. It's
no development.
Yeah.
Like no more development.
No, we need to end that. That needs to stop. And the people who are affected are just, and the land, it goes hand in hand. There's no separation of the issue.
That was a member of the Miccosukee tribe, Dakota. How dare they is right. How dare they? And we know Trump doesn't give a flying fuck about Native Americans. Welcome, new Status Coup member, Dasan just signed up. Welcome, Dasan. By the way, it's not easy for me to do the members call right now. We usually do the members call once a month, 7:30 Eastern time. I have a 2.5-month-old newborn, and my wife needs me at night with the newborn to help put him to sleep. But I'm hoping for next week, we're going to do the monthly members call, 7:30 Eastern. Probably not going to be as long, probably narrow it down to an hour because I do have a newborn, but working on it. So as a paying member, we do a monthly members call. It's through a similar program to Zoom. So that's another perk. You get to ask us questions, comments, concerns. It's always a lot of fun. I want to show you also, because, DeSantis and Republicans are all about, we're the anti-censorship party, right? We're the anti-censorship party. And, we believe in free speech, unless it's brown people, unless it's environmental activists, unless it's healthcare activists, unless it's people protesting against the genocide. Well, apparently they are fighting to yank down billboards around the area critical of Alligator Alcatraz. Here we go. Highway ad against Alligator Alcatraz went dark for a day. Who is to blame? That's a bullshit headline because the story actually shows you who's to blame. But Miami Herald did the whole we're neutral corporate media bullshit. Digital billboards opposing Florida's Alligator Alcatraz debuted this week on 2 highways outside Miami, but the campaign didn't last long before a complaint prompted an outdoor advertising company to remove the message that were paid for by an immigrants' right group. By Wednesday morning, the ads were live again. The source of the complaint remains in dispute. Nah, it doesn't. Thomas Kennedy, who placed the digital ads for the Florida Immigration Coalition, said a sales representative for Outfront Media identified Kevin Guthrie, the governor's emergency management director. So basically, Florida's version of FEMA. This guy runs FEMA. He lodged a complaint to get the billboards taken down on Interstate 95 and State Road 836. The media office for Florida's Division of Emergency Management denied Kennedy's claim, saying this is fault. Miami Herald reviewed text messages from Kennedy showing an exchange with an Outfront sales executive that matches what Kennedy said the company told him. Quote, my manager had them taken down until we have approval. It should be back up tomorrow morning if approved, the sales executive wrote in a message to Kennedy. Kevin Guthrie, the executive director of Florida Division of Emergency Management, is who reached out. So they have the text messages showing DeSantis's head of Florida FEMA, who, by the way, FEMA's not paying for this. Florida taxpayers are paying for this torture prison, this torture dungeon. Why is the Miami Herald phrasing it like a question? Who's responsible for the billboards being taken down? But this is why it's important, folks. They're denying entry to opposition politicians to inspect the torture going on inside the camp, the maggots in the food, the worms that have been reported in the food, the lack of water, the toilets that don't work, the lack of showers. To inspect, is there enough medical staff on site? To inspect, is there 24/7 working air condition? to inspect how many meals are they getting a day? How much water are they getting a day? Are there children in this torture camp? Are there pregnant women in this torture camp? So on one end, we're going to deny the opposition that won't do PR for us, like conservative podcasters we let in to do a little PR tour, Benny Johnson and others. And we're going to have the billboards taken down so we can't blast all over Miami that we have a fucking torture dungeon in the swamp. I'm careful with comparisons, and I don't want to get in a fight with viewers. I'll just tell you my view. I don't throw around the term Auschwitz lightly. I know a lot of people have been calling this Alligator Auschwitz. I personally, I tend not to call things Auschwitz because I think Auschwitz was a very horrific, specific thing in history. I think it has a real definition. That's not to take away the torture going on here. That's not to take away the heinousness going around here. But I just think we need to be careful with certain language. I'm not policing anyone if that's what you think it is, but I do think we need to be careful. Now, Auschwitz didn't start out as Auschwitz. Auschwitz did not start out with gas chambers. The Holocaust concentration camps did not start out that way. So I do understand people saying, well, what this is also how they started out. I just want to tell you my personal belief. Maybe it's because I'm Jewish. I'm not religious, but I obviously grew up learning about the Holocaust. I would just be careful because, torturous, heinous conditions are not the same thing as a death camp. Those two things are separate. That doesn't mean it's not going to get to that point. That doesn't mean it's not going to get to that point. That's my opinion. If you don't agree, that's fine. I'm not going to police what people say. With that said, they're basically trying to bury these people underneath the Florida swamp. They don't want it publicized on billboards. I'm sure if there is anti-Alligator Alcatraz TV ads, they're going to try to get those taken down on their preferred TV networks. Positive that's going to happen. You don't really see the media challenging. It shouldn't just be this politicians filing suit. The media should be filing suit to be able to get in there. As far as I know, they're not letting media in there either, other than, Republican sycophants. This is happening out in the open in America. And by the way, the focus is on Alligator Alcatraz. There's heinous conditions going on at other ICE prisons too. There's heinous conditions going on in other ICE prisons too. I also want to get to, this is a little separate, 3,000 miles away, but along the same theme. Thanks to you, Status Coup viewers, particularly the paying members, we've been able to use Tina Desiree Berg more. Tina has been working for us freelance. I'd love to hire her full-time too. I just don't have a money tree in the backyard. But Tina's been doing terrific work for us all in LA. Sometimes she goes elsewhere for us. And she covered that week or 2 weeks of intense, dystopian, alarming ICE raids that Trump dispatched in LA. She got, in my view, the best footage. She also got shot by less lethal bullets, which, as I've outlined, are not less lethal. She thankfully was not injured because she was wearing Kevlar underneath. Other journalists and protesters were not so lucky. A cameraman that's done work for us in the past nearly had his fucking thigh shot off or his leg shot off. He had to get emergency surgery to remove a 40 millimeter less lethal bullet. And he's still recovering a month later. That's Kevin. So Tina, the other day, she's always ready to go. She got reports that essentially there was border control agents, part of DHS, all kind of under the same umbrella, ICE, DHS, border control. They were out like fucking stormtroopers in SEAL Team 6 level military garb with bazooka guns just during the day out in a Los Angeles park where a children's camp was. This footage, this is the kind of shit you see in video games. This is the kind of shit you see in dystopian apocalyptic movies, where the world is ending and the military tanks are going through. I want to show you this footage, which I think we got the best footage of it all, of any outlet, including local LA outlets. Colin, let's show those clips.
Shame on you, Nazis! They're not gonna do nothing, though. Shame on you, fucking Nazi pigs! Fucking Nazis! Enough!
No sirve nada! No conteste ninguna pregunta!
Enough! Shame on you!
Nada! No conteste ninguna pregunta! No sirve nada! No conteste ninguna pregunta! No sirve nada! No conteste ninguna pregunta!
No, not me, dude. Not fucking me. Come on, man. I'm the fucking press.
I get you.
You don't need to fucking aim it. Why even aiming that shit at me, man? I'm like not a fucking threat. Please de-escalate. Please de-escalate. What the fuck? Oh, you walked me right into the fucking scooter. Thanks for telling me, man. The fuck? I'm just trying to do my fucking job, just like you guys. You fucking aim weapons at me, man? Fuck that noise. Why are you still aiming that shit at me? Aim at the fucking ground. You're supposed to shoot 10 feet in front of fucking people. That is not how you're supposed to aim that weapon.
Did you see that on CNN? Did you see that on your local news? Did you see that footage on your local news? CNN, digital outlets, popular podcasts? I don't think so. Tina is one of the most badass, she'll run into a fire journalist there is. And we want to keep sending her out, but we got to pay her, obviously. And I want to pay her well. So please, please, this is what you're paying for on the ground reporting. Colin, could you come on for a minute? You're the video game guy here. Like, I remember back in the day, like I played GoldenEye back in the day. I played Call of Duty a few times. That's Colin's cat because he can't get his camera working. Does this look like real life? It looks like a video game to me.
Yeah, no, especially it feels like just, I keep using this comparison. It feels like one of the airsoft games I would go to where everyone's just cosplaying and trying to get as loaded up and like cool looking as they can with their guns and stuff, but they're just like in the middle of an actual street and not doing anything, almost like it is like a video game, just the NPCs you can kind of walk up close to and look around and stuff. Of like, it's weird.
And by the way, they had to evacuate a children's summer camp in this park. Could you imagine being a kid watching this fucking like stormtroopers-esque military garb? This is the kind of shit we saw in Baghdad with we were coming in to liberate the Iraqis. Well, they didn't want us there. And can I ask you, MAGA, honestly, what is the point of this? I'm truly asking, what is the point of having these fucking goons, thugs, in the middle of a park on a random day, other than what the report was? They wanted a show of force. Are we living in a fucking dictatorship? I mean, is this like... I truly don't understand. This is like the North Vietnamese, North Korea type shit. Insane. By the way, welcome new Status Coup member. Jackie just signed up. Erica signed up. So now we got Jackie, Erica, Desan, Rose, Shayna on the website. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Keep signing up. I've been live for an hour. I think we've gotten about 10 to 15. We could do better. Because again, we're trying to get Ashley back on the ground. We're trying to get John back on the ground with her. Once my newborn's a little older, I'll be back on the ground. We're trying, fingers crossed, to hire a full-time producer. so that we could actually do more content and actually make it better. Free up Colin to work on other things too. And we need a bigger budget to hire more reporters, Tina and other people. So it's up to you. If you want more of this on the ground reporting, we need you. Speaking of Tina, we should probably do a video, Colin, just on her arguing with police and military goons. But here is Tina in her badass journalism mode, arguing with one of these fucking thugs.
That is very dangerous. That is a stun grenade. Are you serious right now? Maybe you guys should just go ahead and record me, bro. This is me. This is my job. You're not going to intimidate me. We still have a First Amendment in this country.
Leave the community if you're scared. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you.
We still have a First Amendment in this country, kind of. And by the way, I just want to say, and thank you, by the way, Joseph said, hey, Jordan, this is Joey from Florida. I'm upping my membership to whatever is higher than my $25 a month membership next Thursday. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. You got to love these fucking conservatives with their fucking moral hysteria about people wearing masks. But all of these ICE agents who are just enforcing the law, right? They're wearing masks, bandanas over their head. The fucking stormtroopers, a lot of them have masks on or full face shields. Why don't you want your face to be seen if you're not doing anything wrong? So let's terrorize people who wear a mask for health reasons. Let's terrorize protesters who wear a mask because we're living in a fucking surveillance state. Hold on. But when we're terrorizing brown people, we could cover our faces all we do. All we want. Gotta love that, right? Shout out to Tina. This is what you're supporting. Tina's incredible reporting, as well as Ashley and John, and hopefully me and Colin. I want to also show you a clip. This wasn't on the ground, but I'm kind of saying, hey, we should kind of sound the alarm, kind of calm before the storm kind of shit. We see what's going on in Texas right now with the flooding, that 100%, a shit ton of people died because of Trump's cuts to the National Weather Service, to NOAA. There were communities that did not get the proper warning signals because of those cuts. And now you have, last time I looked, 150, 160 dead. I don't know what it is now. And still so many people missing. Right now, I did an interview the other day because, hey, you don't need to be a meteorologist, a climate scientist, a hurricane expert to know when you put a fucking tent prison in the middle of the hurricane bullseye. Hurricane season in Florida is at its worst mid to late August into September. People are going to die. So I interviewed climate scientist Rebecca Jones. Boy, did I get hate for interviewing her. You know, she was smeared. She was smeared by Governor DeSantis. There's a whole story behind that. I'm not going to get into it. But I interviewed her asking like the obvious questions here. Like, is this like, are we headed towards a major fucking disaster in terms of people dying? Not just, by the way, not just the immigrants. Like there's a staff at this point of about 100 people there. Are we headed towards a like real disaster? Let's see what she said. Is it possible that this could be safe in the event of hurricanes?
Absolutely not. There is no world in which makeshift tents or even temporary trailer setups would be able to withstand even a tropical storm. So there's wind ratings for every housing structure that's built in South Florida. And South Florida is at the highest risk, which means that any habitat that's built is supposed to be able to withstand, 110 mile per hour winds. I spent the morning scouring the state's contract sites to see who they bought these trailers from to check the win rating. But of course, for some reason, none of this information is available in the state's contract sites. And I'm sure if you put in a public records request, you get an answer in 3 years. But even trailers in South Florida are extremely dangerous places to be, even ones that are wind graded, if you have anything over 30 miles per hour. And, it's not even a tropical storm until it's much stronger than that. So a severe thunderstorm in this area is potentially deadly, much less anything bigger than that.
Not that we have crystal balls, but do you think,
it's a death trap.
You think people are going to die?
Yes, absolutely. People are going to die. And there's no guarantee that anybody will tell us.
Could be why, as you said, the Trump administration, other than trying to sell the merch, is kind of moving back on this, seeing the writing on the wall.
DeSantis he plans. He saw, the desire for Trump to reopen Alcatraz, which blew up immediately because everyone's like, do you have any idea how much money it would cost to actually open? There's a reason why we shut it down in the first place. And DeSantis is always plotting, and his relationship with Trump is very icy. So he thought something, he'd throw him a bone, call it that. I guarantee that was part of the initial thought process of that. But I don't think Trump would care if people were dying. He would just say they were rapists and murderers and criminals, even though we know that less than 8% of the more than 100,000 people who have been taken by ICE actually have violent criminal convictions on their record. 8%. And so that's not going to be true either. But I mean, this is a very cynical way of looking at it, but a swamp is the perfect place to dispose of bodies.
She worked in Louisiana on hurricane response. She worked in Florida on hurricane response. She worked in Florida during the worst of the COVID pandemic. She became a whistleblower because Ron DeSantis and his administration was manipulating COVID data. And as a result, she was smeared, tarred, and feathered by DeSantis. And just interviewing her yesterday, I had a troll army come after me. I don't really give a fuck. But again, you don't have to be an expert. This is a mostly outdoor facility in the bullseye of hurricane season. And when I say in the bullseye of hurricane season, Colin, if you have that article, the 5 most and least hurricane-prone areas in Florida. Number 2, Southwest Florida, where this is. 49 total hurricanes, 17 that were a Category 3 through 5. Okay. So they've had 17 hurricanes at Category 3 through 5. A Category 2 is 110 miles per hour. She's saying, and I've spoken with others, weather people, this facility is not going to be able to withstand a tropical storm. We're not even talking about a hurricane. A tropical storm could be deadly. We don't even know. We don't know how many staff they have there to even evacuate. Where would they take these people? By the way, this road, part of this is being on the ground. This road only has one way in and one way out. There's one road. I don't want to be dramatic, but I don't think it's dramatic to say a swamp is a good place to dispose of bodies. So, too often with these stories, the media does such a poor job of reporting on things and sounding the sirens before there's a disaster. Like, I wish reporters sounded the sirens before the water was switched in Flint. They didn't. And now, 11 years later, the water's still bad in Flint. I could go down the list of disasters that could have been avoided or at least minimized if journalists would have done their jobs. Where I'm sounding the fucking alarms here, I'm sending out the SOS. This is going to be a disaster come the worst of hurricanes. And people are going to die. I mean, save this. People are going to die. And you know what Trump's going to say? They were rapists. They were murderers. They shouldn't have come here illegally. And MAGA will fucking jump like seals. This is medieval time shit, folks. This is medieval time shit. And an interview we haven't released yet, one of the protesters was saying this is basically what happened with Japanese internment camps in American history. It's just disgusting what's going on. Absolutely disgusting. Welcome. Minobird just signed up as a Status Coup YouTube member. Keep signing up, folks. I'm staying on, even though my wife has texted me. Keep going. Keep signing up. I want to play another clip because it's not just that this is clearly not up to any type of building code. It was built in 8 days. By the way, you would have to put in a proposal for a change of purpose. This is a pilot training jet port. You would have to kind of put in to propose to amend its purpose to a prison camp. I'm sure they didn't do that. I'm sure it's not up to code. I'm sure it's not up to hurricane code. But add on the cherry on top, there was already flooding on day one. Just an inch and a half of rain caused flooding with electrical wires everywhere. I spoke with Rebecca on that too. Day one, from what I heard, it was about an inch and a half of rain. And you could see right there, I'll just play it here. I mean, that's just a little tiny kind of, afternoon rain probably.
Yeah.
There's
And
electrical.
it's the subtropics. I'm glad you mentioned that, because the thing I see every time I see that video is all of the electrical cords in the water. Like, are these people so daft that they don't know that water and electricity should not be mixed? Because that is extremely hazardous. Like, if that is the setup where they have wires running along the ground and there's flooding, you could kill people just with an average thunderstorm if you are not smart enough to pick up the wires off the ground. But, the Everglades are a catchment. That's where water wants to go. That's why it's the swampy kind of transition to marshy environment. So everything there, and I checked this earlier today, is at about at ground level, because that is where water wants to be. And so it's going to stay there until either it evaporates or they sweep it out. I don't even know how they would manage that kind of a situation with such little rain causing, already standing water on the.
It's July 10th. I went to school down in Florida. I remember I stayed some summers. I remember some hurricane season started earlier, and there were serious storms, end of July, beginning of August. We could be seeing major, if not even just from the initial storm, the flooding itself could be life-threatening to immigrants there, to staff. But hey, get the merch. Get your Alligator Alcatraz hat. With these fucking MAGA bros all making millions of dollars on air, sucking Trump's dick, excuse my French, pushing propaganda, clapping like seals, cutting 17 million from Medicaid, cutting food stamps, while we give rich fucks tax breaks. Make America great. It's the biggest psyops and hoodwinking and con job in the history of America. MAGA is the equivalent of the Tea Party, which was also astroturfed and funded by billionaires, basically, and big conservative think tanks created the Tea Party and basically astroturfed it and masqueraded it as a grassroots thing from the ground up. MAGA's the same way. It's all astroturfed, billionaires stealing your money and hoodwinking, honestly, naive, impressionable conservatives. By the way, there's plenty of this. This is not like a Team Democrat channel. So if you're, an MSNBC liberal, if you're a vote blue Democrat, this is not a safe space for you either, because there's plenty of that on the liberal side too. It's less of a deadly cult on the liberal side, but there's cult thinking on the Democratic side too. I'm happy to see that starting to break a little bit, as I've started to see in recent months, even normie Democrats who voted Obama and Hillary and Biden starting to be like, oh, wait, they're not actually fighting for me. Oh, wait, they're just kind of doing the bidding of the billionaires too, just less in your face. Let's show you another clip. By the way, Ashley did all of this great on-the-ground reporting in just 5 days. Imagine what we could do with a real budget. Imagine what we could do with a real team if we could stay down on stories like this longer. We could do a lot more if we had more funding. Hint, hint, sign up as a Status Coup member. What is real, living, breathing journalism with a pulse? Journalism that doesn't sit here in a straitjacket and pretend to be neutral. No, we're not fucking neutral to torture camps paid for by taxpayers. We're not neutral to distraction and creating others in the form of brown people to distract and deflect and to make you look the other way, to all of us being fucked up behind by the billionaires and the politicians they purchased. That's what's going on here. MAGA, Trump, the media that's in league with him, the spineless Republicans that are in league with him, they are here to distract you from what's really going on, which is a new Gilded Age. Stealing your money, a bank robbery that's been going on since the 1970s, stealing all the money and all the productivity of the 99% so that fucking rich donors could buy another yacht at another wine cellar. And they could buy media to push out their propaganda to convince people it's the Mexicans that are the enemy. It's the Latinas that are the enemy. It's the Guatemalans that are the enemy. It's the people from Belize or Central America or South America or the Muslims. They're the reason your standard of living sucks. It's the biggest psychops, and they're good at it. Credit to them. They're very good at it. But I'm sorry to tell you, MAGA, and even some, more moderate conservative Democrats, immigrants are not why your auto plants shut down or your steel plant shut down or your carpentry plant shut down or some of your communities are in the Midwest look like a ghost town. That's not why. It's because politicians, Democrats and Republicans, sold out, are purchased by special interests, let multinational corporate conglomerates write trade deals that sends our jobs offshore. The laws are written not by the politicians, but by Wall Street, by the fossil fuel industry, by big pharma, big agriculture, big tech, Silicon Valley, the military industrial complex. It's not complicated, folks. Hell, audio just came out. MAGA doesn't care because they're like fucking clapping seals. They're so stupid. Audio just came out where Trump bilked a donor who wanted to donate $1 million to his campaign, and he bilked him for $25 million. It's just brazen corruption, in your face corruption. But MAGA's like, he's fighting for us as he takes our Medicaid and food stamps. And by the way, the Democratic Party is not offering much better. The only message they have is, we're going to save your Medicaid. We're going to save your food stamps. But we're not going to offer you anything more. We're not going to offer you an alternative to right-wing fascism. We're not going to offer you an alternative to phony populism. We're not going to be like every other country and offer universal health care, free public education. We're not going to actually do real investment to save the planet from the climate inferno. Biden's big accomplishment was tax credits for companies that do wind and renewable. That would have been nice 20 years ago. We're well past that. The planet is burning. So let's not let the Democrats off the hook here either. And yes, David, don't forget the criminal Supreme Court, who's appointed by convicted felon and rapist Donald Trump. Couldn't agree more. Let's also not forget Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who was too selfish to resign. And if, by the way, Sonia Sotomayor should also resign as a Supreme Court justice. But she should have under Biden. Now she shouldn't, because Trump would replace her with a conservative. She's got health problems too. Let's go to another great on-the-ground clip. Khan, whatever's next.
Specifically on this day on 4th of July, I don't think I could, for me personally, I don't think I could celebrate when I know concentration camps are going up. And I told myself, I'm like, the most patriotic thing I can do if I really believe in this American experiment and believe in America and where we can potentially go, it's to come here, and this is the most patriotic thing I can do, to stand up for everyone. You asked why I came here today. Sorry, I'm getting all flustered.
No,
Okay.
no, you're good. I mean, again, it's hot out.
Yeah.
It's extremely hot. It's extremely humid. We're in the middle of the Everglades. we are all being, hungrily eaten at by mosquitoes this whole time. And we've all been out here for hours now. So I don't blame you. You should see some of our interviews and live streams. I get flustered. So you're good.
Another reason too is like I got my bachelor's degree in German linguistics and history. So I spent a lot of my 20s reading extensively about the Nazi regime and its coming to power and what that looked like, and reading personal stories. And I've lived in Germany for a year and a half. I've been to Dachau. I've been to Sachsenhausen. I've seen those places, and I know what's happening. I'm not afraid to call it what it is. This is a concentration camp. The German people, or the German Nazi Party, did not start by telling people, hey, we're going to take people to these death camps and we're going to put them in gas chambers, and that's going to be our final solution to this. Right. They're doing exactly what they are saying now, which is these are just detention centers. We're just going to hold them until we can deport them. Come on. Pay attention.
That's really alarming, and I don't know if he's wrong. Welcome, new member Nadine just signed up. So that's Nadine, Jackie, Erica, Desan, Rose, Shayna, Randall, and Than signed up through the website. Thank you. Keep it going. I'm going to be live for a few more minutes. By the way, I just want to point out, because too many abnormal things go on under this Trump regime, and we kind of just let it go. Did you notice they literally put up an Alligator Alcatraz official government sign on the highway? Think about how fucking dystopian this is. The government is putting up signs like it's not even a nickname. They're literally calling it Alligator Alcatraz and proudly putting up a name. I don't really care if you're like on the left. I don't care if you're a conservative, if you're libertarian, if you don't have a label. If you don't think that's fucked up, there's something wrong with you. If you get like glee out of this, like, ooh, the alligators are going to eat them, there's something wrong with you. And there's an insecurity within you. And there's a tiny penis complex within you. I don't know what the alternative would be on a woman. But there's kind of a Napoleon complex in you that you got to be a strong man by terrorizing other people. That doesn't make you strong. It just makes you a weak asshole. And by the way, Ashley and John, they were live multiple times on the 4th of July. So we were down there in the heat with the mosquitoes on holidays to show you what's really happening, because you're not going to see this kind of coverage on CNN, MSNBC, certainly not Fox News, New York Times, Washington Post, the Associated Press, the Daily Beast, Axios, Politico. Frankly, you're not going to see this kind of coverage on other independent outlets. There's a lot of outlets that call themselves independent. Check their funding and notice when they get that funding, their tone suddenly changes. Not talking about anyone in specific. Young Turks, So, and there's a lot of outlets that I like that are independent, but they mostly do commentary, which is cool. No problem with that, but they're not like out there on the ground, and they have less expenses because they're just doing a studio from home. They're just doing a show from home, which is fine, but we have extra expenses. We have an added level because of the on-the-ground reporting. And by the way, credit to Ashley. She's doing great work. Ashley, who we hired a few months ago, thanks to growing, she didn't have a ton of on-camera experience. So she's kind of learning on the fly, and I think she's doing a great job. Obviously, there's room to get better, but there's room to get better for all of us. And I think she's going to get better. When I started on the ground, I wasn't that great. It takes a while to find your voice, get in a groove, etc. By the way, I want to show you. Do you know we're now at 472,000 subscribers? We're marching, folks. We're close. We're getting there. We're sniffing 500,000 subscribers. We hit 200,000 subscribers last August. So if we continue at this pace, we might grow 300,000 subscribers in just a year. So the on-the-ground reporting is paying off, and you are funding it. It's helping us reach new eyeballs. It's helping us get around, which has been for a long time YouTube suppression. YouTube has been hiding us for a very long time. I still have people, believe it or not, 7 years into this, that used to watch me at the Young Turks that suddenly find this. I just saw a comment today. Why is this suddenly showing up in my YouTube algorithm? How come I've never seen it before? I wish I knew. Let's play another clip.
Whenever I hear people about, talking about Alligator Alcatraz, they illustrate how, like you said, the president said it's like undesirable conditions. And, they've had illustrations, of how Alligator Alcatraz is going to be surrounded by, water, which essentially has pythons and alligators. Pretty much is just, there's a lot of predators out here in the environment. And, it kind of reminds me of like medieval times, how like in medieval times, like when they had castles, they would have protective barriers like moats. So, medieval times, that was in the past, but this is really similar to that. So it's almost like we're going back in time. But if you want to relate to something more closer in time in our modern history, we can almost relate this to like the internment camps that the Japanese, people like were, subject to in the 1940s, because pretty much when we were in World War II, we, as a country, unfortunately, we just demoralized and dehumanized Japanese people, even if they were born here.
I will release that full video probably this weekend. He said a lot of powerful things. And by the way, completely agree with this comment. This is from Matt. Twitch doesn't have a good algorithm. Networking is how you find people. Tons of streamers already know you, though. I could go another hour just on, if I'm being honest, the lack of what they call signal boosting we have gotten from other larger independent outlets. I won't get into details because I don't have that much time left, but unfortunately, bigger outlets aren't always the kindest to elevating our on-the-ground reporting. I have reached out to Democracy Now!, for example, 6, 7, 8 times on various stories, asking them to have us on as guests, myself or Ashley or Tina, on a story we're covering on the ground. Use our footage for free. A lot of times we would charge a licensing fee to mainstream networks, but independent outlets, we would give it to you for free. I won't get into full details, but for whatever their reason, that they have not had us on. Breaking Points has had us on. They've featured our work, so thanks to them. But Kyle Kalinske from time to time features our work, so thank you to him. But, I asked Vaush, for example, could I come on when I published my book last year, We the Poisoned, Exposing the Flint Water Cover-Up, which is out. If you're new to Status Coup, definitely check it out. If you want to know the real full story on the Flint Water Cover-Up, I worked my ass off to get that out there. It's real. I've been told it exposes the biggest government cover-up of the 21st century. It's based on 9 years of reporting, thousands of documents I obtained, confidential documents I obtained from the Flint criminal investigation that only I, yours truly, got. I probably spent hundreds of hours on this reporting. Put a lot into this. Erin Brockovich did the forward. I asked Vaush, could you have me on? Gave me an excuse why he couldn't have me on. So yeah, there's a lot of channels with much bigger followings than us that, in my opinion, just kind of bloviate and bullshit, that for whatever reason don't want to feature on the ground reporting. And I've even said, you don't even have to have me on, just cover the story featuring our reporting. And if you can, suggest your audience check out our channel, subscribe to our channel. So we've tried, trust me, we've tried. Here and there, you'll get help, but most of the time, larger independent outlets, I don't know if it's that they're just kind of in their own world, just want to cover the stories they want to cover. They're not into actual living, breathing, independent journalism. It doesn't make sense to me, because independent media exists because corporate media isn't doing this. So when you have one of the few independent outlets that is doing this, not once in a while, all the time, you would think you want to elevate that. You would think you want to highlight that. You would think the on-the-ground reporting we would do, you could feature it to then react to and do your analysis and commentary. You would think. Anyway, I digress. Let me play one more clip before I got to go. Yeah, I've reached out to Midas Touch too. No response. I've reached out to Midas Touch too. Yes, I've reached out to Mehdi Hassan too. So this is not me attacking people. I'm just telling you, I have tried and we have tried. I've tried Midas Touch. I've tried Zeteo. Breaking Points we've been on. I've tried Democracy Now! Over and over again. So maybe they need to hear from you, the audience. I don't know if it's a personal thing, if they don't like me. You don't have to like me. Focus on the stories. Focus on the stories. The stories are what matter. There is no reason that they shouldn't be featuring this on-the-ground reporting, encouraging their audience, because that's how it works. I guarantee you, Midas Touch, who has a massive audience, 96% of their audience do not know we exist. And I would say 96% of their audience, maybe they wouldn't love all the content. They'd love a lot of it. By the way, let's throw David Pakman in there. Another one who never responded when I tried to get on his show about my book. And by the way, this is not just about me. It's like me selling books. I wasn't going to make a ton of money off this book I did. This is about finally getting the true story about the Flint water cover-up that the corporate media helped bury because they were in on the cover-up. Couldn't get a response from David Pakman. Democracy Now! For whatever reason, wouldn't. Plenty of others. So this isn't me, give me a pity party. It's not about me, Jordan. It's about the story. It's about our on-the-ground reporting. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense to me. So tell your preferred channels, tell them Status Coup is doing the work. If they don't want to have me on, that's fine. Just feature the content, urge your folks to subscribe, et cetera, et cetera. All right, let's play one more clip.
I would just ask, as vets, what specific things would you want viewers to know about why you showed up today on the 4th of July? So instead of celebrating on the 4th of July, you guys are here protesting in downtown Miami. Why do you think it was important to do that?
Well, it's so clear to me because it's so clear to me. I got one here.
Yes.
So the reason I showed up is so clear. It is because we love our country. We swore an oath to defend and protect our country. Founded on what? Founded on the Constitution and all the rights and privileges and responsibilities that go with that. Sergeant? Okay. I'm going to choke up a little bit, but I can't stand what's happening. All right. I know, like I say, I swore an oath to the Constitution, but I did it because I believe in protecting people. And that's not what's happening. People are being attacked. People are being attacked. And I'm not okay with that. If you run up on someone with masks, you don't have a warrant, and you don't have a badge, how do I know you're not a kidnapper? I'm gonna jump in, and I'm gonna go to jail for it. I'm gonna go to fucking jail because I stand up for someone's rights, because our government isn't supposed to work this way, and I don't care. I'm gonna stand up for them. I don't care who you are. I don't know you, but if you get attacked on the streets, I'm standing up. So right here, I'm gonna ask all my other veterans, stand the fuck up. Get off the fucking sidelines. Forget about your gun rights. We're not coming for your gun rights, but this administration will once they're scared of you. Stand up. I can't get through to the MAGA. I'm not even going to try. But I could get through to Republicans that didn't sign up for this, that are hardworking Americans. I live in a neighborhood with some hardworking Republicans. They didn't sign up for people that get deported the way they're getting rounded up and put into a concentration camp. They're good people. But I need them to stand up, and I need veterans to stand up, and I really need veterans to start running for office and saying, hey, look, I'm going to fight for you guys the way I did. That's why I'm here, because I'm hurting inside, and I can't not say something.
That's why we do what we do. Unfortunately, our corporate media does not give a microphone to these kind of people that we've showed you today. They don't want to have him on their show. They want to highlight, wealthy, out of touch pundits and blowhards who know nothing and just go on TV and write columns pushing propaganda and bullshit, extolling the virtues of their political tribe. They're not telling the voices. They're not lifting the voices of working people. They're not lifting the voices of indigenous people, environmental activists, veterans, and all the people we showed you today. They're not. Please, please, please. Again, I'm not beyond begging you, the people. What is $5 a month worth to you? Now, there's some people that genuinely cannot afford $5 a month, which is 16 cents a day. If you cannot support $5 a month to Status Coup, totally understand. We don't want to make your situation worse. But for those that can, you could support us as a paying member for as low as 16 cents a day. And you might say, what's that? I mean, what is that going to do for you? Trust me, the more we stack up $5 a month memberships, we also have $10 a month memberships. We also have $20 a month memberships. Obviously, that helps more. We also have $179 annual plans. The more we stack up these memberships from working people, from viewers, the more stable revenue we have coming in. If we have more stable revenue, the less I need to beg. The more stable revenue we have, the more we could go on the road quicker, the longer we could stay on the road, the more reporters we could hire, the more support staff we could hire. Colin's been working 6-7 days a week for a long time. I've been working 6-7 days a week for a long time. I won't bore you with the behind the scenes, but there's very few people doing the jobs of 5-6 people. In some cases, there's 3 people doing the jobs of 8-9 people. That's not sustainable. And, we want to have a life and, spend times with our spouses, kids, animals, etc. So please, please support us. StatusCoup.com/join. All it takes is $5 a month. Real quick, Linda, thank you for signing up as a Status Coup member. Jen became a Status Coup member. Shirley became a Status Coup member. Brian, $5 super chat. Thank you, Brian. Jen, $2 chat, supporting you from Australia and proudly. Thank you, Jen. Always wanted to go to Australia. Kathy signed up as a Status Coup member on YouTube. Thank you. Brian gifted 1 Status Coup YouTube membership. Thank you. Bigfoot and the Bunny, a member for 1 month. Fight the power. Welcome. Mad Oscillate, $2. Just bought your book today. Thanks for being the best. Thank you. And I don't sit here hawking my book. It was published almost a year ago. I think I've sold like 4,000 copies. Trust me, I'd like to sell a lot more copies, not just to make money. I do need to keep the lights on and feed kids, but I'd like to get the truth out. But the point is, we're trying to grow Status Coup, my book, trying to help me too, so we could actually get more truth out there in a sea of propaganda. Louise became a Status Coup member on YouTube. Thank you. Shirley, $19.99 super chat. Thank you. Grace signed up as a Status Coup YouTube member. Thank you, Grace. Jen, super sticker, $1.49, a rainbow. Thank you. Joseph, $5 super chat. Hey, Jordan. Oh, I read this one. This is Joey from Florida. I'm up in my membership to whatever is higher than a $25 monthly membership. Thank you so much. I believe on Patreon we have $50, if I remember. We'll have to check that. Kirky, $4.99. Thank you for all your on-the-ground reporting. Always look forward to your real reports. Thank you. Minor Bird became a Status Coup member. Thank you. A Pime 3 became a Status Coup member. Thank you. And one more time, I will shout out the website members. Welcome new Status Coup member Alyssa, Nadine, Jackie, Erica, Desan, Rose, Shayna, Randall, and Than. And you can sign up anytime, even when I go off, which I have to go off now to take care of a newborn. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Colin. We'll see you back here over the weekend. Bye-bye.